All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is Saturday, October 22nd, 2022, and this is the first official live stream from my new location. Unfortunately, they still don't have high-speed internet out here, so I'm also doing the first ever live stream through my hotspot on my phone. And let me get some feedback from the chat before we get into this. I just want to make sure everything is coming through properly. And while I wait on that feedback, I am noticing one thing that needs to be tweaked here, because you cannot see my entire desktop, and that is a problem. So bear with me while I fix that. Okay. I think that's about right there. Sounds great. That's good to hear. Loud and clear. Okay. All right. Glad to hear that. Hotspot's working. Okay, then. So, just as a reminder, I do have a Twitter, you guys. I do post a lot of things on this Twitter. So, it's not a bad place to follow me at. I wish more people hit the like and share. It says I have over 19,000 followers on here, but the likes and shares are always pretty sparse, and I don't know if that's just more censorship and people aren't even seeing the posts or what, but you'd think if 19,000 people were following you, a few more people would want to share, as important as the information usually is. But of course, you have Rochelle Walensky, the head of the CDC today. Today's news, Saturday, that she's tested positive for COVID-19. And of course, this comes on her 201st day of her age, and we'll get to why that's important again, from Event 201 to the founder of the CDC. And also in the news today, well, we talked about this, but I want to show you even more. The joke of Lizz Truss, where Truss has to do with construction and bridges, and again, Operation London Bridge was the name of the event for when Queen Elizabeth died. Of course, Liz Truss took office on 9/6, 2 days before the Queen died at age 96. You might have saw this. New research was published on why mosquitoes prefer some people as opposed to others on October 18th of all days. And of course, that was the anniversary of Event 201. And you might recall the year of the pandemic, which followed Event 201, which of course was the coronavirus pandemic simulation. Mr. 201 himself, Bill Gates, he had a big ritual with Mosquito Week. So I find it funny that this new mosquito knowledge was published on the anniversary of Event 201. Of course, they have little needles on their faces, do mosquitoes. And CNN published this article this morning. Analysis: the fact that many people know better than to say Jews or Jewish doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't anti-Semitic. Keep in mind, this news comes on a date with 74 numerology, and of course, Jewish equals 74, like Gematria, like the number that shows up a lot of these mass shootings, especially the ones that have drills prior, like as was the case with the Tree of Life synagogue shooting. But again, I mean, people should stop and ask, why does the media seemingly only protect one religion? I mean, after 9/11, they did a good job participating in George W. Bush's crusades, demonizing all of Islam. And it's funny because if you look up the original definition of anti-Semitic, I'd say it fits a lot more with the actual Muslim, darker complected people of the Middle East than the white people that moved there after the war. But So really anti-Semitic, I think the media was very anti-Semitic when it demonized Islam and that part of the world after 9/11. But anyway, again, why does the media only seemingly care about Jewish people? And again, you turn on the TV and they say 1% of the world is Jewish, but then 50% of the people on TV are Jewish, if not more. And if you turn on Fox News, they're always telling you buy those gummy bear fruit veggie things, and they like to show the Star of David in their commercial. It's just like, I mean, I'm asking a rhetorical question here, but people really should pull their head out of their ass. And then the sickest thing I've seen in a while, there is a new toy on the market, and it is a transgender doll that comes with scissors, bandages, and a kid-size doctor coat, white coat to put on, new white coat ceremony. And part of the idea of the doll is to give it transgender surgery to remove the genitals and call it transgender. And again, it's just like I was talking about last week. I met the man Jesus, who liked to be called Jesse because people are always pronouncing his name as Jesus. And he was talking about how he's ready to pull his child out of school because just 1 month into the school year, they'd already had, and this is elementary school, mind you, his elementary school age child, they'd already had 3 assemblies for one child. First, the child announced they were transgender and now had a new name and a new gender identity. And then the second assembly was to announce that the child decided to go back to their original name and original gender. And the third assembly was for the same child who once again decided they were transgender and wanted to go by their other gender name. And again, that's a public school here in a small town near the Tri-Cities in Washington State. And these stories are going on all over the country right now. Can you imagine that? 3 assemblies for one child who's going back and forth. And I mean, this little kid, right? But yeah, this is what happens when you put ideas in, impressionable children's minds and teach them that something's cool or hip or popular, or they'll get more attention if they also identify this way. And again, I just told you my niece just turned 18 years old, and on her 18th birthday, she had the surprise announcement that she now identifies as a man, and she has a new name that's a male name. And again, this stuff's going on all over the nation, and people say there isn't an agenda. And I'll remind you, Google is the same platform censoring all sorts of things where people have been warning about all this stuff. Again, I can't tell you how many videos I've lost for showing the agenda behind the gender reversal push. And again, I should have the right to say whatever I want to say about this topic as an American. But of course, the communists and fascists at YouTube, they prefer the policies of, the Nazis and the World Health Organization and God knows what else. But this stuff is sick. It really is sick to be pushing the idea to children that they should mutilate their bodies. And for anyone who doesn't like the word mutilate, that's tough because that's exactly what it is. Making it cool to mutilate yourself. And of course, they've coded the number 201 all over the transgender push, just like they've coded it all over all of their agendas that all come back to population control. Again, every last one of these agendas comes back to population control, and I'm pretty sure it's been going on for a long time. Same numbers all over wars, especially the ones all over Asia, the most populated part of the world. Been killing a lot of Asians ever since the end of World War II and needless wars. Pretty sure it's just all been population control all this time, but it's becoming more obvious as time passes. And again, with regards to 201, again, from Caitlyn Jenner to Event 201, notice Rochelle Walensky, today, Saturday, the CDC on October 22nd, announces she's positive with the cooties. And from her 53rd birthday, let's not forget COVID equals 53, but from her birthday to today is her 201st day of her age. And let us never forget that the Event 201 simulation, it only included 2 CDCs from the entire world, China's and the United States, where the first cases of COVID were in the world. Again, China, and then the first case outside of China was in the United States, in Seattle, Washington, across the street from the big Space Needle in Bill Gates' backyard, who 10 years to the day earlier declared a decade of vaccines. And of course, his full name, William Henry Gates, has that gematria of 201. And just to remind you about the CDC and its history, Joseph Walter Mountain, he, the founder of the CDC, his title, Dr. Joseph Mountain, equaled 201. So how perfect for the new head of the CDC to have this ritual on this day. And of course, 201 is the number of the Jesuits. And before Rochelle Walensky, you had the Georgetown Jesuit grad in there, who was the face of the CDC when the pandemic kicked off. But, the 201 list continues to build. And I've been saying I'm thinking about putting together a book series, like a children's book series on a bunch of different numbers. But at the rates the 2-all-ones keep building, I feel like we just have to put out a new 2-all-one book almost once a week. You know? So, anyhow, Rochelle Walensky on her 201st day of her age, she's got the cooties. And also, I did talk about this yesterday, but just to put a visual to it to make it more clear, again, Liz Truss had her 45 days in office. The word bridge is 45. It was called Operation London Bridge when the Queen died. Again, the Queen died at 96, 2 days after Truss took office on 9/6. And again, a truss relates to a bridge. And you can see in the illustration, a queen post truss, a king post truss. And of course, the builders are Freemasons. And with regards to the queen dying at 96 and her taking office on 9/6, the day this ritual began, Freemason equals 96. And again, the Scottish Rite, large and in charge, their degrees are 31, 32, 33. Add those three numbers together, 31 plus 32 plus 33, it equals 96. So, of course, ritual equals 45, IHS, the letters from the Jesuit acronym is 45, and the joke is clear. You know, let's not forget the Queen died 201 days after being diagnosed with COVID, or that Captain Tom died from COVID 201 days after being knighted by the Queen, or any of the other 201 rituals we've covered in recent times. Let's also not forget the Jesuit Order's logo is above the door at 10 Downing Street. And let us also not forget that Liz Truss equals Jesuit Order, or that modern Freemasonry was created in London, England by the Jesuit Order. And let me make sure. Oh, yeah, of course, it's Saturday. Remember, Saturday has the same Gematria shooting. It seems like every week we get a big type of shooting story on a Saturday. They're usually in the middle of the night. This time in Louisiana football land down there in Baton Rouge, where Southern University and Louisiana State University are. You got a shooting that injures 11 the day of some big football games where it's 11 on 11. But yeah, again, just Saturday equals shooting. Every Saturday you wake up, it's your regularly scheduled programming, your latest mass shooting story. And I mean, I'm just having trouble imagining a shooting where 11 people are injured. No one's dead. I mean, seriously, you shot 11 people and no one died? Sounds like a load if there ever was one, because it almost always is. And yeah, I'd say more about that Tree of Life synagogue shooting, but I've already lost like 4 videos for talking about that. Don't forget the bridge collapse that happened earlier this year, the day Joe Biden was supposed to speak in Pittsburgh. Remember, bridge collapse equals 128. It collapsed on 128. It was the Fern Hollow Bridge. Fern Hollow equals 128. It was 128 weeks from the shooting at the Tree of Life synagogue that's right next to the bridge. And don't forget, it came 45 days after Steph Curry set the three-point record, a team that's originally from Pennsylvania with a bridge on the uniform. And we know that's not a coincidence, because I predicted the day that Curry set the three-point record why there would soon be a bridge collapse story to promote Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. And lo and behold, they did it in the Steel City on the day he was supposed to be there. Where again, they get that's what kills, the fact that they get away with these transparent, obvious rituals, especially with people like us in the world exposing what's going on. Also, I just caught wind of something that I've been missing this whole time. The arena that for so long was known as Key Arena in Seattle, Washington, where the Sonics used to play. It's now where the Seattle Storm, the women's team, plays. They changed their name in 2020, and I don't know how I missed this, but they changed the name to Climate Pledge Arena. And of course, this is on the 74-acre Seattle Center where the Space Needle is. But Climate Pledge Arena, they did this June 25th, 2020, right? On George Orwell's birthday, the man who invented the term Orwellian, which means speaking in opposites. And Amazon, the world's leading pusher of consumer products, which ties in with the Amazon being the most destroyed natural environment in the world But Amazon is who changed the name to Climate Pledge Arena. And again, just think about it. This happened in Seattle, the first city in the world to have a case of COVID outside of China, Bill Gates' land, where Bill Gates said we have to reduce population to save us from climate change. And him and Jeff Bezos are both Mr. 201, who have all kinds of parallels. They both moved their companies from alien land down in New Mexico up to the Space Needle in Seattle. Can never forget Roswell in 1947 in New Mexico, the 47th state, and then up to Seattle on the 47th parallel. But yeah, June 25th, 2020, when COVID was going on and the articles were being written about how the silver lining of COVID-19 is it's helping, world governments reach the Agenda 21 and 2030 goals, Seattle changed their arena to Climate Pledge Arena. And again, who plays it at the stadium that gets the most draw? The Seattle Storm. Think about that. Storms, climate change. And then the new hockey team plays there, and they're called the Kraken, which is the monster from the sea. They're saying climate change threatens, coastal cities the most. Tropical storms, hurricanes, typhoons, all this type of stuff. And then the other team that plays at the arena is Seattle University. And who are they? They're the Jesuit school in Seattle. Remember, there's only 27 Jesuit universities in the nation, but 2 of them are in Washington State. You have Gonzaga and Seattle U. And they both participated in some recent 201 rituals, including when Gonzaga lost in the championship to Baylor 201 days after Elgin Baylor's birthday, who went to Seattle U and who died right before the championship game. But yeah, had to make sure that's documented because that was right under my nose here in Washington State, and I just realized it. But yeah, again, doing it on George Orwell's birthday, that's no accident. And for the record, Climate Pledge Arena equals 79 like Society of Jesus. Climate Pledge alone is 68 like Seattle, Washington. So yeah, just a short and sweet stream. I just wanted to try this out to make sure this works with the hotspot until internet service comes to where I'm now living. But it's a good sign that this worked. You can tell things are a little bit slow, though. Look how long it just took to load CNN's front page. You can tell it's a slow news day. Terrifying photo shows what an ant looks like close up. Oh my God. Who thinks of this stupid stuff? Support for Ukraine is shifting among Republicans. This can't be happening. Many lose eligibility for loan forgiveness. Oh, you mean the government promised something and then took it back? And then what kind of story is this? In a dramatic moment, former Chinese leader led out of room as Communist Party Congress comes to a close. I'm sure that was dramatic. I do got to admit though, they're sucking me in for the clickbait with the up close of the ant face. How long until the first story of the first case of ants with COVID-19? Is that what an ant really looks like, or is that a drawing? Woo! Okay. I don't know. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I don't remember the ants looking that scary in that movie. That is interesting, though. I guess just in time for Halloween, huh? Who's dressing up for an ant on October 31st? I saw that eBay is banning Jeffrey Dahmer costumes. Like, how do you even dress as Jeffrey Dahmer? Come on, man. Let's not forget they stuck 201 all over the new Jeffrey Dahmer series. And, of course, his apartment was right next to the Jesuit school Marquette there in Wisconsin. Cheers. Okay. All right, but yeah, I think that's all for now, True Seeker. Just wanted to make sure the streaming was working, and it appears it is. So thank you to everyone who checked in. Thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. Oh, snap. Someone even gave a super chat. Eric, shout out to Eric. Eric chipped in $10 and said, Cabin in the Woods betting board. Doctors Corona 112 right on the board. And the zombie girl's name equals 177 in the film. And a giant bat kills a government doctor in what was called the Army of Nightmares. Again, if you guys have not seen this movie, Cabin in the Woods, it is fairly entertaining, but it's also super cheesy, but at the same time very interesting because it's about the government luring teenagers out to cabins in the woods to ritually sacrifice them. And then, not to ruin the movie for you, you learn why in the end, why they must do this ritual of sacrificing the spring breakers every time spring comes around. So thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate your observation. I got to go back and watch the movie now just to catch that 112. And hey, with regards to 112, since he brought it up, where was this at? Let me bring this post back up here. Here it is. Notice when it loads, if it will load, there it is. Notice the date on the photo, November 2nd, 2018. So they had to take a picture from the Tree of Life Synagogue where you had the shooting the other year, right after they had the drill there, coincidentally. You know, Lenny Posner doesn't want you to talk about it. He wants to take away your First Amendment and your Second Amendment. But anyway, November 2nd was the 101st anniversary of the Balfour Declaration. And again, the Balfour Declaration was plans to build a Zionist state, which became the state of Israel. And again, it was dated November 2nd. And in Gematria, Zionist equals 112, Judaism equals 112, Catholicism equals 112. Again, the Jesuits are a Catholic Jewish alliance that operate in 112 countries, like the date November 2nd, 112. So they just had to post on that day of all days, right? Again, you guys, big rituals, big numbers. And thank you to the people who hit the like and the share, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, or any other platform I post on. And by the way, today, RPM Trey, he says it's the 4-year anniversary of him starting his Hug an AR owner campaign. So he's out there this weekend with his cousin. Again, they came out and pounded pavement with us in Oklahoma City. They recently did a trip down to Austin, Texas to pound pavement. And they probably would have come out to New York if it was an open carry state. But make sure you guys are following RPM Trey Vietnam and all the other good people in the community doing the work. And for all you sportsaholics, I will fire up the sports live stream real soon on the Patreon and on the sports platform service on freetofindtruth.com. That will start in about 20 minutes. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Have a great rest of your day. And if there is anything else big that happens today, I will certainly be back. And until next time.